Okay, madam. Start your session.
Yes. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
So students, can we continue the new system? I think our session must be interactive. So please cooperate me. So I can guess up to which level you can understand the subject, because most of the students are not having from the science background. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yes. So now today we are going to continue the new system, that is the cardiovascular system. Can anyone tell me which systems we have covered in the last week? A quick review.
Respiratory.
Yeah.
Skeletal.
And one more system left.
Nervous system.
Nervous, no. Muscular system. We have seen the types of muscles, right?
Okay.
And
Yes,
articular system, yeah, of course, we have studied the joints, various types of joints and all that, about their movements, flexion, extension, adduction, abduction, and all that. So in very short, we have seen the locomotor system, which includes skeletal, articular, and the muscular system. Okay. Now, today we are going to discuss about the cardiovascular system. Now, in this system, we are going to see about what is meaning of circulation and which are the various organs or structures which help in the process of circulation of blood, like heart, the blood vessels, the process of circulation, the types of circulation, then amount of blood and the composition and functions of blood, and the blood pressure. What is the meaning of blood pressure and all that about blood pressure. So these are contents of the circulatory system. Now let us start one by one the intro of the circulatory system. So all of you know that in our body there is the pipeline, you can say. Pipeline, just like the pipeline of water outside the city and we get the water supply, right? Same here, in our body there lies the pump, and that pump is known as heart. Heart acts just like the pump. It pumps the blood, and the various blood vessels, arteries and veins, they are known as the pipelines of our body. And through the pumping of the blood reaches to the various parts of the bodies, and the smallest unit known as cell up to the microscopic unit, that is cell, the blood reaches out. So this is the cardiac cycle, the cardiovascular system, which includes the circulation of what? Blood, which contains oxygen, various type of nutrients, various hormones, and carbon dioxide, and all the metabolic waste products, all they are included in the blood. So this circulation process is very, very necessary for maintenance of the homeostatic processes in our body. So a question may arise in your mind, what is the meaning of homeostasis? It is very, very important function, or very, very important process. It is actually the self-regulating process, and it is very essential for maintenance of the internal stability of the body, and it there is some adjustments in our body, whether the condition, external condition of the body get changed, there may not, it may not influence the internal body functioning. So the process of homeostasis plays important role in maintaining various life processes and maintenance the preservation of our life. So we can say that just maintaining of our body temperature or blood pressure maintenance, blood sugar maintenance, all are the examples of homeostatic processes. So these processes are life-saving processes, and these are all maintained by this circulatory system. Clear? Now, the various important features are: blood is the fluid that transports the various materials. The materials may include nutrients, the waste products, the hormones, antibodies, all that. Okay. And it includes the system of blood vessels. Blood vessels are various types: artery and vein. You may have heard the word artery and the vein. So can anybody tell me what is artery and what is vein? Because I have told you that it is the pipeline inside the body. But if we are not very clear what is artery and what is vein, then we cannot understand properly about the functioning of the heart and the cardiac cycle and blood circulation process. It is not possible. So one must know about the types of blood vessels, artery, veins, and their branches. So can anybody tell me what is the difference between the artery and the vein?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so artery is carries the blood away from the heart, and veins carry blood towards the heart.
Good. Any other point? Any other point with the help of which we can differentiate? Let us see. Arteries are the blood vessels. They carry pure blood. What is meaning of pure? That means rich in oxygen. Arteries carry oxygenated blood, which is rich in oxygen. Whereas veins carry deoxygenated blood. That means it carries carbon dioxide rich blood. Clear? So O2 rich blood is carried through the arteries. And the flow of direction: blood is carried from the artery to the various parts of the body. This is the direction of the arterial blood flow. Whereas veins carry blood, impure blood, from the various parts of the body towards the heart. That means flow of blood is exactly opposite. Now, pressure in the artery and vein. The blood flowing through the artery, the pressure of the arterial blood is higher than the pressure of blood in the veins. It is slowly, it flows very slowly. That means we can differentiate artery and vein with the help of the pressure of the blood. Then color, also minute changes are there. If you observe the color of the arterial blood, it is somewhat dark red and bright in color because it is oxygen rich. And the venous blood is somewhat dull in nature as it is rich in carbon dioxide. Another important point is about the presence of valves. VALV, yes. We are going to learn more about the valves and their functions by learning about the structure of the heart. But valves are found in the veins and not in the artery. This point I will not express detail about the valves because I will clear your idea about valve. while learning, while teaching about the structure of the heart. Now, the important point, all the arteries in our body carry oxygenated blood, but there is some exception. Exception is there, pulmonary artery. Now, where this pulmonary artery is located, also we are going to learn about while studying the cardiac cycle. So, pulmonary artery, as it is the artery, but it carries impure blood. So, the point must be noted that even if the pulmonary artery is the artery, but it carries impure blood. Same here, the pulmonary vein. It is vein. And I have told you already, all the veins in our body carry deoxygenated blood. But here again, the exception, the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood. Okay. So this is the differential point. Now about the location, with the help of location, arteries are located deeply inside the body, whereas veins are superficial. You can notice the veins superficially, bluish in color, and some IV saline fluid we can insert through the veins. So veins are superficial, while arteries are deeply located inside the body. So these are 5-6 points with the help of which we can differentiate the artery and vein. So clear the difference between artery and vein?
Clear?
Yes. Now next the structure of the heart. Now let us see the structure of the heart. Heart, where heart is located, we have seen in the last lecture that there is in the thoracic cavity. There is a thoracic cavity in which the two lungs, and between these two lungs there lies the mediastinum, and in this mediastinum slightly towards the left side there is a cardiac notch located in the left lung, and here the heart is situated. Heart is conical shaped hollow muscular organ. Heart is having the cone shape and having the apex, a very interesting part. Apex lies generally at the top of the any organ, but here the heart, while considering the structure of the heart, the apex of the heart is located downwards and the base is at the superior side. So apex and base, these are the two parts, and it is located in the mediastinum between the two lungs. And again, all the vital organs of our body, they are protected by the bones. We have seen in the last lecture, like the brain situated in the brain box, the organs of reproductive and organs of urinary, they are located in the pelvic cavity. The lungs and heart, they are protected in the thoracic cavity. But it is not enough. And as these are all the vital organs, nature have given the further protection. Just we have seen in the last lecture that the lungs are covered by the membrane known as what? The covering of the lung is known as pleura. Same here, the covering of the heart is known as pericardium. Note the point. Heart is protected in the thoracic cavity between the two lungs, and also it is covered by the important membrane known as pericardium. It is made up of 3 coverings or 3 linings. The outermost is known as epicardium, the middle is known as myocardium, and the innermost is known as endocardium. Clear? So these are the three coverings of the heart. Between the three coverings, out of these three, the middle and inner covering, there lies the fluid. It is known as pericardial fluid. Pericardial fluid, and it gives lubrication. It allows the free movements. It protects the heart from. It acts like a shock absorber, and it protects and avoids friction while beating of the heart and all that. So it acts as a protective in function. Okay, so heart is protected by the pericardial covering. Okay, now considering the weight of the heart, it is slight difference between the weight of the heart in male and female, but no matter, it generally varies about 250 to 300 grams. Average weight of the heart is 250 to 300 grams, and it is just like the size of a fist of the person. Size of a closed fist is the correct size of the heart. So we have seen about the location of the heart, the covering of the heart, the shape of the heart, the apex and base of the heart, the pericardial fluid, its function, the weight of the heart, all about the external features. External features of the heart. Now about the internal features. When we learn about the anatomical structure, one must include the external features, the internal features, and also if there occurs the microscopic structure. We will learn about the microscopic structure of the nephron or kidney and all. When there is necessity of learning the microscopic structure, we will learn it. But here, considering the heart, we are going to learn about the external and internal features of the heart. So we have seen about the external features. Clear? Now about the internal feature. And study of anatomy is done by the dissection. You know, anatomy, that means to cut, to open. When we cut the, or we take the longitudinal section of the heart and open the heart, what we can observe? We can observe that heart is made up of two halves, two equal halves. It is separated into equal halves, right and left side. Clear? Now the you can see the picture here. Two equal halves, right and left. The right and left both having the transverse septum, and with the help of the transverse septum, it is again further divided into upper chambers and lower chambers. Upper and lower chambers. That means totally, if we notice the chambers of the heart, their heart is made up of total 4 chambers. The uppermost chambers you can notice in the picture. Uppermost chambers are known as atrium, and the lowermost chambers, they are known as ventricles. So the 4 chamber, the name of the 4 chamber, right atrium, left right ventricle, and the left ventricle. So 2 atria, the uppermost chambers of the heart, they are known as atria, whereas lowermost chambers known as ventricles. Okay. Now the atria and ventricle, when we observe a minute difference between the walls of the atria and ventricle, here in the picture you can notice the wall of the atria are somewhat thin as compared to wall of the ventricles. Why this? Because the atria having workload very little, they have to contract very slowly, and they pour their content blood in the ventricles. No any extra workload. But the ventricles having much greater the force is needed to contract and to pour their contained blood in the particular artery, because they have to supply all over the parts of the body. So walls of the ventricle are much thicker. Note the point. Walls of the ventricle are much thicker than the wall of the atria. And the interesting point, when we compare the walls of the right ventricle and left ventricle, you can again notice the picture very clearly seen. You can notice that wall of the ventricle is thickest than the other three, and as compared to the right ventricle, it is much thicker. Why this? Because from the left ventricle, note the point, from left ventricle, the main artery known as aorta, main artery aorta arises from the left ventricle, and through its various branches, it supplies the oxygenated blood to all the parts of the body through its various branches. So left ventricle have the workload, the much that means the highest workload is there on the left ventricle. So the walls of the left ventricle are much thicker. Clear? Now the role of the atria and ventricle. Atria act just like the receiving chambers. Atria are known as receiving chambers, as atria receives only the blood and pour their contained blood in the particular right atria, pour its blood in the right ventricle, left atria pour its contained blood in the left ventricle, just like that. So the atria act as a receiving chambers, while the ventricles act as the distributors. Ventricle distributes the blood. We have seen that. Left ventricle distributes the pure blood through aorta to the various parts of the body, and that process is known as the systemic circulation. Whereas the right ventricle pours its contained blood through the pulmonary artery towards the lung for purification, and that process is known as pulmonary circulation. We will see the types of circulation. So here we have seen that when we cut the heart, we can notice the two halves, right and left, and each chamber is again by the transverse septum divided into upper and lower chambers. The upper chamber are right atrium, lower chamber are left ventricles. Just we have seen the four chambers, and now about the valves of the heart. Here in the diagram, you can notice the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid valve, or it is also known as mitral valve or mitral valve. So totally in the heart, there are four valves. Note the point. In heart, there are total four valves. Where these valves are located? The tricuspid and the bicuspid. Tricuspid valve is located between the right atrium and right ventricle. You can notice here, the tricuspid valve is located in the right atria and right ventricle, whereas mitral or bicuspid valve is located between the left atria and left ventricle. Clear? Now, what about other two valves? The other valve, that means both these valves are known as semilunar valves because they look like the half moon shape. So they are known as semilunar valves, and these valves are located in the pulmonary artery and the aorta. Now here in the diagram, pulmonary artery, you can watch the pulmonary artery arise from the right ventricle. And in this right ventricle, you can notice the pulmonary valve which carries the deoxygenated blood towards the lung. So this is this is about the walls of the heart. Here is the picture of position of the heart and the coverings and the chambers. Now, these are the, you can say, the conducting system of heart. It's very interesting how the actual functioning of the heart occurs. Now, let me know from your side, heart is made up of special type of muscle, and that muscles are known as, the muscles located in the heart are known as cardiac muscle, right? What is the specialty of cardiac muscle? Can anybody? Cardiac muscle having special characteristic feature which is not seen in other varieties. The first feature is the structure like voluntary but function like involuntary. Another feature is automatic rhythmic contraction without fatigue. Heart continues beating. The muscle continues contracting since birth or before birth also. It continues beating since birth till death without fatigue and in a automatic rhythmic pattern. Lub and dub. This is the rhythm of the heart. L-U-B-B and D-U-P-P. Lub and dub. Continuous. If you try to hear the sound of the heart, you may hear the lub and dub. These two sounds are produced by the closure of tri and bicuspid. The first sound is produced, and when there is closure of both the semilunar walls, when get closed, the second sound, that is dub, is produced. Clear? So how the sounds are produced in the heart, lub and dub. Now about the conducting system of the heart, how the heart muscle works and how the blood is circulated all over the parts of body. We are not going so deep, but you must know some important point, that what is SA node. SA node you can notice here where the superior vena cava. Now before going towards this, we have seen the blood vessels, right? The various blood vessels. 1 minute. Blood vessels. Here we have seen the blood vessels, the artery, arteriole, and the smallest branch, it get terminate into the capillary network. You can notice here the capillary. Venules, the small branch venule, and again the venules, and then they unite with each other and they form the smaller veins and ultimately the larger blood veins. And these so the network of the blood capillaries is formed and the circulation. 1 minute. Here the SA node, AV node, the superior vena cava. How the vena cava is formed? By the union of these small veins, there forms the greater veins. So superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. These are the two vena cava which collect the impure blood from superior part and inferior parts of the body. That means from the head, the shoulder, the chest, the upper arm, and the inferior vena cava collect all the impure blood from the lower limbs, the pelvic cavity, the abdominal cavity, and all the impure blood from various small veins. They collect the impure blood, and through the superior and inferior vena cava, all the collected impure blood is poured in which region of the heart? Right atrium. So note the important point. Right atrium receives the impure blood collected from the superior and inferior vena cava. And where the SA node is known as the pacemaker. You may have heard the word pacemaker. If it stops functioning, the heart cannot work properly. So cardiac cycle may disturb. So it can be changed by the operation. And the artificial SA node or pacemaker can be installed. Okay, so SA node, it lies at the entrance of the superior and inferior vena cava in the right atrium. SA node, then AV node, it is located at the atrioventricular opening. So through these nodes, the signal or the wave of contraction spreads, because we know that the muscles of the heart, they work automatic rhythmic contraction. Their function is automatically when the atria, both the atria get filled, the sensation of the wave of contraction starts from the SA node, and the wave goes up to the AV node. Then it spreads downwards through the bundle of His and the Purkinje fibers. You can notice by the green colored fibers, excitable fibers. So this is known as the conduction system of the heart. SA node, AV node, the wave between SA and AV node, the bundle of His and the Purkinje fibers, all is the conducting mechanism. And with this conducting mechanism, the circulation of blood continually occurs. We have seen about the types of circulation. There are two types of circulations: pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation means what? When the superior and inferior vena cava collects impure blood, pours their contained blood in the right atria, and what happens? The tricuspid valve get opened, it poured the contained blood in the right ventricle. From right ventricle, when it contracts, the impure blood goes towards the lung. That means circulation between heart and lung is related with the pulmonary circulation. Now the systemic circulation means when the blood get purified in the lung, what happens? 2 from the right lung and 2 from the left lung. So 4 pulmonary veins, as it is vein, but it carries the pure blood. These are exceptional cases. So 4 pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood through the right and left lung and pour their contained oxygenated blood in the left atria. And same process occurs. The bicuspid valve get opened. They pour their contained blood in the left ventricle, and when left ventricle get contracted, it pours its contained blood in the aorta. And through aorta and its various branches, the pure blood is circulated towards the all over parts of body. This is known as systemic circulation. That means all blood reaches towards all the systems of the body. These are the two types. Transports blood to and from all the tissues and pick up the waste. And it supplies all the nutrition parts, nutrients metabolic needs of the cells in the body. And pulmonary circulation is, it involves only the heart and the lungs. So this is all about the heart and the structure, external structure, internal structure, the conducting mechanism, the types of blood circulation, all we have seen about the circulatory system. Now the next part of the circulatory system is the blood. Blood. Can anybody tell me about the quantity of blood present in adult human being? How much blood is present? Yes, anybody? In an adult individual? Yes?
8 liters.
Sorry, repeat. How
It's
much?
12, no? 12 liters?
Yeah, 4 to 5 liters approximately blood is present in the adult human being. Now, blood is actually a mixture of solids in a large amount of liquid called plasma. Plasma is somewhat yellowish, viscous fluid in the blood, having 92% water, and rest is the organic and inorganic material present. So this is the composition of blood. When we notice that, here you can notice the two parts, 45% and 55%. 55% is the plasma and 45% is the blood vessels, blood cells. There are three types of blood cells found in the blood. Which are the three types? RBCs, WBCs, and the platelets. RBC, WBC, and the platelets. These are the three blood cells found in the blood. RBCs are known as erythrocytes, WBCs are known as leukocytes, and the platelets, they are known as thrombocytes. Erythrocytes, leukocytes, and the thrombocytes. Clear? These are the three cells. And one must know the important points about these cells. For example, RBCs. You can notice the color of the RBCs. How they seem? They are centrally thin, but at the sides they are much thicker, just like the coin. These are about 4 to 5 million per cubic mm of blood. Their quantity is much greater. RBCs, you can see here the RBCs like a coin. They are thinner at the center. Large surface area, they contain the hemoglobin. So RBCs look red in color, as their cytoplasm, it contains the hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is actually the complex protein made up of heme plus globin. Heme is iron containing pigment which is red in color, and globin is one of the type of protein. Okay, and its main function is to carry the oxygen. And when the number of RBC goes in the lower side, what happens? HB% goes down. What is the normal range of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin level in the blood should always be how much? Anybody knows? This is
between 11 to 13.
Yeah, that means it must be above 10. 11 to 13, 14. Okay, so that means 10 is known as the boundary line. 10 is the boundary line. It must always be upper side of the 10, about 10. Because oxygen carrying capacity lowers when there is less quantity of RBCs are found. So RBCs contain hemoglobin which have great affinity towards the oxygen, and so it combines with oxygen and oxyhemoglobin is formed, right? It binds with the oxygen. Average life of RBCs is about 120 days. Note the point. 120 days is the lifespan of RBCs. You know, in our body, the process of growth, process of repairment, and if the cell becomes beyond repair, it dies in the spleen and liver and all the organs, bone. So this is the continuous process inside the body. Generation of cell, growth and repair, and death. Again, new generation. Which is the exceptional case? In our body, the type of cells, can anybody tell me? They cannot be generated. Once die, they cannot generate again. The nerve cells.
Cells.
Yeah. So the cells, average lifespan is 120 days. And if death occurs here in the spleen and liver, and the hemoglobin is converted into bilirubin, and this bilirubin, the liver cells pick up this bilirubin and add in the bile. This is the process. The main function of the RBC is to carry oxygen from the lungs to the body and carbon dioxide from the body back to the lungs. This is the function of RBC. Now, where these RBCs are formed in the body? In the red bone marrow of the long bones. We have studied the long bones like the upper extremity, lower extremity, humerus, radius, ulna, tibia, fibula, femur. These are all the long bones. And in the long bones, the upper and lower end contains red bone marrow. And in this red bone marrow, RBCs are produced. Okay. This is all about the shape, size, the function, the specialty, the lifespan, all about the RBCs. Now let us see about the next cells in the blood, that is WBC. WBCs are also known as leukocytes. And these cells, as compared to RBC, their number is 8 to 10,000 only per cubic mm of blood. 8 to 10,000 per cubic mm of blood. Having different size. You can notice in the picture, having different shape and different size, and their nucleus you can watch. It is also having bilobe, trilobe or multi-lobe nucleus. And in all other cells in the body, having a single nucleus which is mostly rounded, shaped and located in the center. But here in the WBC, the shape of the nucleus is changeable. In some cells it is bilobed, or in other it is trilobe, like that. So depending upon the granules present in the cytoplasm, these cells are classified into granulocytes, having granules in the cytoplasm, and agranulocytes, that means not having any granule in the cytoplasm. Eosinophil, neutrophil, basophil, monocyte, lymphocyte, all are the subtypes of WBCs. Okay. The main function of the WBC is it helps in the body's defense mechanism. It protects our body getting infected. It destroys all the harmful bacteria and foreign material. Sometimes these cells eat the bacteria. They fight the bacteria. And so these are known as phagocyte. and the action known as phagocytic action. The process of engulfing the bacteria is known as phagocytosis. So these cells overall help in the function of maintenance of immune mechanism of the body. Now the third important cells in the body, they are known as thrombocytes or the blood platelets. Red blood cells, erythrocytes, white blood cells, leukocytes, and the third is platelets or thrombocytes. Their number varies from 2.5 to 3 lakh per cubic mm of blood. And also these are found or these are derived from the stem cells in the bone marrow. One point is left in the WBC. They are formed in the, where WBCs are produced in the yellow bone marrow of the long bone. Where yellow bone marrow is located between the shaft of the long bones. What is shaft of the long bone? The middle point, the upper and lower end, and the middle portion is known as shaft. Though in the shaft there lies the yellow bone marrow, and here the WBCs are produced. And the lifespan of WBC is about 8 to 10 days. 2 points were left in the WBC. Now coming to the platelets. 2.5 to 3 lakh per cubic mm of blood is the quantity of blood platelets. These are irregular in shape and size. Irregular, smaller than red blood cells, having no nucleus in the center, and these cells help in the most important function, that is hemostasis. That means it helps in the clotting of blood or stopping the bleeding. Bleeding stops. Hemostasis. So the thrombocytes are the blood platelets having 2.5 to 3 lakh per cubic mm of blood in number, derived from stem cells of the bone marrow. Their lifespan is about 8 to 10 days, and they help in the clotting of blood. Now, one must know about how the clotting of the blood takes place. For clotting of blood, the platelets play a very important role, but other than platelets, calcium, you know calcium, it is the mineral, it is also very essential for the process of clotting. And how the process takes place? When there happens any injury, blood comes in contact with air. Blood start flowing through the veins, and it comes in contact with the air. So when the blood platelets come in contact with air, the platelet get destroyed, and the platelet release one enzyme that is known as thrombokinase. This thrombokinase converts inactive thrombogen into active thrombin. Now thrombin is formed. This thrombin, in presence of this thrombin, the plasma protein known as fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is converted into fibrin, and this fibrin, filaments of fibrin, they get intervened, and a clot is formed. That means the fibrinogen, the prothrombin, and platelets, they all play important role in the clotting of blood. Okay, so blood gets clogged. It requires very few minutes. So this is all about the clotting. The WBC having play important role in the immune system, and also the some tonsil and spleen. We will learn details about the immune mechanism of the body later. Now the yogic point also is left about the circulatory system. Yogic point. Why it is necessary to learn about the circulatory system so thoroughly? We have seen the very deep structure of the heart, the function, the types of circulation, why it is necessary for you learning in the certificate course of yogic education. Because when you are going to practice various asanas like Sarvangasana, Viparita Karni, Halasan, some pranayam like Ujjayi pranayam, Bhastrika pranayam, some bandhas like Jalandhar bandha, some kriya like Nauli, all come under the influence of blood circulation. In all these asanas, pranayam, bandha, mudra, kriya, what happens? Our blood circulatory system get affected. So one must practice very sincerely, very focused, and very concentrately, and under the expert guidance, because your blood circulation get affected while these type of practices. So one must practice well under the expert guidance so that your blood circulatory system will get benefited and remain unwanted disturbance in blood circulation will not occur. It is our duty to learn properly, because it all these bandha mudra pranayam, they affect our nervous as well as the circulatory system. Also the patients having or the person having hypertension, they are strictly contraindicated doing such type of pranayam, such type of bandha, mudra and asanas. So one must know, one must check the blood pressure before practicing such a type of bandha, mudra, pranayam and the asana, because it affects your blood circulatory system. Right? Another important point for learning the circulatory system in the yogic point of view is that your heart rate and your blood pressure must remain normal. That means your heart rate should be 70, 72 beats per minute. Your blood pressure, what is the normal blood pressure? Can anybody? Normal blood pressure ranges from any of you have measured your blood pressure? No? Yes or no? Do you know what is blood pressure and what is its importance? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then
It shows how calm the body is and if
the
there's no
it ranges.
extra.
Yes, it ranges between normal blood pressure ranges between 120 to
120
yeah. The 120 is the systolic blood pressure when your heart contracts. It is highest. And diastolic means when your heart is relaxed, in the relaxed state, that is diastolic. So 120 by 80 is the normal blood pressure range, mm of Hg. Hg means mercury. So this is the normal blood pressure. So while doing any asana, pranayam, bandha mudra, or any practices in yoga, your heart rate and your blood pressure must remain in the normal state. If it is increasing too much, your practice is going towards wrong side. Okay, So one must practice under the supervision, expert supervision. So it will affect your circulation of blood. Then interesting part, various asanas are mentioned in yoga, but Shavasana. In Shavasana, what happens? Your blood pressure becomes, that means it goes towards slight lower heart rate, slightly get lower. Your blood vessels get relaxed, and your body, all the muscles in the body and your mind get relaxed. So it is very good asana for the persons having stress, anxiety, any type of worry and hypertension and all about the stress related disorders. It is a wonderful practice. Now I am telling you one secret regarding the circulation. Yogic practitioners, if you observe or you notice, all the yogic practitioners look always fresh and their face have a special glow or brightness on the face. Why this happens? I'm telling you a secret. All yogic practitioners, they look always fresh and their face glows. Why this happens? Because when you practice yoga, what happens? Your peripheral blood circulation is reduced and the circulation is enhanced towards your endocrinal glands and your facial muscles. The blood circulation, the peripheral blood circulation is reduced and it is transported towards, or it is enhanced towards the endocrinal glands and the facial muscles. So there is no need of doing any makeup or all that, and their face always look fresh and a glow occurs on their face due to the fresh blood supply. So this is the secret of the yoga practitioners' high energy level. Okay. Now the blood pressure. One must know about the minimum points about blood pressure. Actually, what is the blood pressure? It is the pressure exerted on the by the blood on walls of the arteries. It is highest during contraction, known as systolic blood pressure, and when your heart relaxes to refill, it is the lowest pressure, that is known as diastolic pressure. The systolic is 120 mm of Hg, while diastolic is 80 mm of Hg. Blood pressure differs, or some factors affect on blood pressure, like your sex, your age, time of the day, your posture, exercise, your emotions. There are certain factors, changes in your metabolic activities, all can influence your heart rate and your blood pressure. And what is the importance of measuring blood pressure? You must measure your blood pressure and follow certain rules, not to having a patient of hyper or hypotension, because if the hypertension becomes chronic, it may damage your kidney. Brain stroke may occur. What is brain stroke? It is rupture of cerebral blood vessels. And also the cardiac arrest may occur due to the hypertension. So obese persons, smokers, constant mental tension, emotional tension, all such persons are prone to develop the hypertension. So one must try to maintain the stress level, whether it may be physical, it may be mental or emotional, because your stress level directly affects on your blood pressure and it gets changes. So slight emotional changes what happens, certain hormonal glands like endocrinal glands, adrenaline gland, this is secrete the adrenaline hormone. It creates the pressure on your heart and your blood pressure get rise. And if it becomes chronic, it leads to damage the kidney and the cerebral stroke or cardiac arrest may occur. And you are so lucky that you have took part in the learning process of yogic education, and through this yoga education you are going to learn how to maintain, how to manage our stress, our emotions and your thought process by practicing all the asanas and meditation, mudra, pranayam, and all these three are the practices change your thought process, and you come to notice that your mind, physical and mental balanced you have achieved. Of course, it requires continuous practice. So this is all about the circulatory system. So during the circulatory system, we have started from the artery, vein, heart, blood circulation, conducting system, the blood, the composition, the function, and the types of circulation and the blood pressure and the various causes of blood pressure and how to maintain, and what is the importance of knowledge of circulatory system while doing yogic practices. All these points we have learned details in the circulatory system. Now here we have completed the circulatory system, and some time is with us. So can we start the next system, because I have very few lectures in hands, and I have to cover another system also, that is the digestive system. So we are going to start the digestive system. 1 minute. Slight intro about the digestive system. We are going to learn the process of digestion and various organs of the digestion. Is the screen visible to you? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Digestive system. So we have 15 minutes in our hand. I am giving intro about the digestive system today. Digestive system is the system which includes the ingestion of food, digestion of food, absorption of food, and the elimination. Actually, digestive system provides nourishment to all the cells of the body. Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, elimination, all are the phases of the digestive system. Elementary, it includes the alimentary canal. Digestive system includes the alimentary canal, which is a continuous tube-like structure having mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach. Okay, stomach and the small intestine and large intestine. So one by one we will see the structure. Digestive system, the various organs of the digestive system. It is known as the GI tract, GIT, gastrointestinal tract. It starts from the mouth up to the anus. Our mouth includes the teeth, the tongue, the oral cavity. Oral cavity, the roof of the oral cavity is made up of what? Palate, soft and hard palate. Whereas the base of the oral cavity is formed by the tongue. And on both the sides of the oral cavity, there are two cheeks. This is the overall foundation of the oral cavity. So mouth consists of two sets of the teeth, permanent teeth and temporary or milk teeth. Milk teeth are 20 in number and permanent are the 32 in number. Okay, all of you know the kinds of the teeth like incisor, canines, molar, premolar, like grinding teeth, cutting teeth. So these are the teeth. And the important is you can notice here the teeth, they mechanically break down food into very small pieces. You can see the structure of the teeth, the tongue here. The tongue, it is the muscular organ, and the tongue is actually, it helps in chewing, it helps in the swallowing, mixing of the food, it helps in the production of speech, and it is also the sense organ for sense of taste. These are the interesting functions of the tongue. In the oral cavity, I will mention here oral cavity. There is the secretion of the saliva occurs through the gland known as salivary glands. There are three pairs of salivary glands. One pair is known as sublingual gland, which is located below the tongue. Another pair of salivary gland is located in front of ear, that is known as parotid gland. And the third salivary gland, that is located in the submaxillary region, that is known as submaxillary glands. So these are the three pairs of salivary gland which secretes the substance or secretion known as saliva. Saliva is secreted and it is carried towards the oral cavity and it mixes with the food. So it helps in chewing, and mixing of the saliva is the function of the tongue. Now the food part which is mixed with saliva, it is known as bolus. Bolus. Bolus is alkaline in nature because saliva is alkaline. And most importantly, the process of digestion of cooked starch starts here, and all the cooked starch, it get converted into a type of sugar known as maltose, right? That means the process of digestion of cooked starch starts here from the mouth. Now this bolus is transferred towards the esophagus. From pharynx, it transferred to the esophagus. You know the types of pharynx. There are three parts of the pharynx we have learned in the respiratory system: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. From oropharynx, it get transferred towards the esophagus. Esophagus is 25 centimeter long, tube-like structure. It lies behind the trachea and it pierces the diaphragm and enters the stomach. This is esophagus. Esophagus secretes some mucus type secretion, and it moves the food from the throat towards the stomach. How the food bolus reach to the stomach? By the muscular movement known as peristalsis. What is peristalsis? Peristalsis is the muscular movement by contraction and relaxation of the internal muscle. A wave-like manner is continuously formed, that is known as peristalsis. And with the help of these peristaltic movements, the bolus is it get transported from the esophagus up to the stomach. Now, bolus is reached in the stomach. How is the structure of the stomach? Stomach is J-shaped muscular bag-like structure, and it stores the food. But it stores the food up to how much time? It is the temporary reservoir of food. Stomach is temporary reservoir of food. It depends upon the quality of food and the quantity of food. How much quantity of food you have taken, and of what quality of food you have taken. How much quantity of food must be taken by a healthy individual? Can you do you know how much food one must take according to yoga? Do you know?
Light food.
Sorry, repeat.
I said light food.
Light food. Mitahar. That quantity. I asked you about the quantity. How much quantity of food the person can take? According to
Should
yogic
to
science,
the palms of your hands.
3/4.
according to yogic science, if we consider the 4 parts of our stomach, 2 parts should be the food intake. 1 part remain for water and 1 part remain empty for air. This is actually the quantity of food
3/4.
one must. So depend upon quantity and quality. What is the meaning of quality? Whether the food is easy for digestion or it is hard to digest. That means near about 2.5 to 3.5 hour food remains here in the stomach. Okay. So, it is J-shaped muscular bag-like structure having the 2 ends. You can see the structure of the stomach here. 2 ends. Upper end is known as cardiac end and lower end is known as pyloric end. Why it is known as cardiac end? Because it is very close to the heart. Cardiac end. And heart is located towards the left side, and the stomach is also located in the left hypochondriac region of the abdomen. So stomach having the parts like 2 ends, upper end known as cardiac end, lower end known as the duodenal end or pyloric end. The dome shaped part you can observe in the diagram, that is known as fundus. The middle part is known as body, and the pyloric canal and the pylorus. These are the curvatures. Lesser curvature and the greater curvature are the 2 curvatures of the stomach. And when you notice the structure of the stomach, when it is empty, X-ray of the stomach, when the stomach is empty, can clearly show the folds. The folds, they are known as rugae, R-U-G-A-E, rugae. And what is the function of the rugae? They disappear as soon as food enters the stomach. And the rugae plays important role just like the mixer grinder. And rugae mixes all the food part with the secretion of the stomach known as gastric juice. In the stomach, there lies certain glands in the walls of the stomach there lies the gastric glands, and these gastric glands secretes the gastric juice. This gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, pepsin, renin like enzymes which help in the process of digestion. Hydrochloric acid is the very strong acid, and it helps to kill the bacteria, microorganisms if they come through the food. And also hydrochloric acid helps in the process of digestion of protein on action of the pepsin. Pepsin and renin, these are the two enzymes, and also the lipase. These are enzymes helping the process of digestion. Pepsin acts on the protein part of the food. That means the food which you are eating and which is rich in protein, all the protein part, or I can say maximum protein part in your food get digested in the stomach with the help of pepsin. And for the action of pepsin, hydrochloric acid plays very important role. If there is absence of hydrochloric acid, there is a case in thousands of people, one case may notice that there is absence of hydrochloric acid in their stomach. The case is known as achlorohydria. And in such cases, what happens? Their protein digestion cannot be properly take place. And so this is the function of the stomach. Rugi plays important role in the mixing, temporary reservoir of food, secrete gastric juice, which contain hydrochloric acid, pepsin, renin, lipase. What is the function of renin? It curdles the milk, converts the casinogen milk protein into casein. And the third enzyme is lipase, which converts the, which helps in the digestion of the fat. Now, this process of digestion takes place depending upon quality and quantity of food up to 2.5 to 3.5 hours. What happens after that? The other end, known as pyloric end, is closed up to this time. And after the food when enters the stomach is alkaline in nature, and it is called as bolus, we have seen. Now the alkaline bolus get changed in the acidic chyme because it is mixed with the hydrochloric acid. So the alkaline bolus get transferred in the acidic chyme. Now this acidic chyme is ready for the next transportation, that is, it enters the small intestine. From stomach, it goes towards the small intestine. Okay. Now the small intestine. Let's see the small intestine. The small intestine, it is roughly 7 meters long, and it is having 3 parts. Which are the 3 parts of small intestine? Duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. These are the 3 parts of the small intestine. Duodenum is somewhat C-shaped structure. The middle is jejunum, and the last part of small intestine is ileum. Lining of the intestinal wall has finger-like projections called villi. You can notice here like this. Small intestine, the lining finger-like processes, you can clearly notice they are known as villi of the small intestine. And these villis take important role in the absorption of the nutrients. All the nutrients, they get absorbed through the finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area of the small intestine. And what it absorbs? 80% of ingested water, all the vitamins, minerals, carbohydrate, protein, fats, all is absorbed through the villi of the small intestine. And what about the large intestine? Large intestine about 1.5 meter long, and it accepts what small intestine don't absorb. Small intestine absorbs all the essential nutrients and all the waste matter which is not required by the small intestine. It is carried forward towards the large intestine and it accepts all the material. The next part of the large intestine is rectum. It is the short-term storage which holds fecal matter before it is expelled out. So this is the structure of the large intestine. Large intestine seems like this. The certain parts of the large intestine are ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. Just observe in the picture. Descending colon, sigmoid colon having S shape, and the rectum and the anus. So these are the parts. Now, the ascending colon continues to ascend up to it touches the liver, and where it touches the liver, it continues to transversely it can come across towards the spleen. When it touches the liver, it gets folded and it forms the right angle, and that right angle is known as right colic flexure, hepatic flexure. And the transverse colon, when it touches the spleen at the left side, it descends downwards, and here again it forms the right angle that is known as splenic angle, splenic flexure, and it descends downward, known as descending colon. And the sigmoid colon, rectum and anus, these are the various parts of the large intestine. It is 1.5 meters long. Which are the various functions of the large intestine? Recovery of water and the electrolytes, formation and storage of the fecal matter, fermentation, bacterial digestion, the food which is not digested properly, it is transported toward the large intestine, and here there are many bacteria are present here in the large intestine. They start digestion, and absorption of fat may take place, and absorption of certain medicines which are induced through the basti karma, as said in the panchakarma process of Ayurveda, enema like that. So all these medicines can get absorbed through the large intestine. So these are the various organs of the large intestine. In the next lecture, we will see the structure of the accessory organs which help in the process of digestion. The most important gland is liver, the pancreas, and all other glands. We are going to learn more about the accessory glands in the next lecture. So we have seen here the intro of digestive system, various organs of digestive system, their anatomical structure, and their functions in short. Clear?
You, madam.
Yes.
If any queries, questions, please ask.
Now the time, it's okay. Yes. Or you may send the questions. Is there any group form, sir? Sandeep, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you can send your queries in the group, and we will discuss your queries in the next lecture or tomorrow's lecture. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful session. Okay, we will meet in next session tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. session time. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.